Good morning, class. I hope this finds you well. Friday, June 19th, otherwise known as Juneteenth, the day in history in 1865 when uh, there was an announcement in Galveston, Texas that the slaves were finally free. Sadly, this comes 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, and we have different variations of history as to why it took 2 years to notify the slaves that they were actually free. Um, just probably another example of people fighting slavery till it's the bitter end because it was a system that worked really well for white landowners and white supremacists. And so on this day in history, so long ago, we can reflect back and see where we've come and where we haven't come. And I think there's a lot to consider in terms of culture, and that's what we're moving into today. We're moving into kind of this concept of culture. Culture is something that's shaped by all the people in it, but it's also something that kind of just floats among us and we kind of take it for granted. Um, there's an Some people use the example of a fish in water. A fish doesn't really know it's in water. It just takes for granted that the water is part of what it is. Um, so you'll read about culture in terms of what the textbook has to say about it. Uh, you're in module number 3 this week, and you will do the reading, which is all laid out here, and you'll watch a small clip of the Lost Boys of Sudan, which was a documentary about bringing a handful, not a handful, but a group of Sudanese boys who were fleeing the civil war there, and kind of how the United States, number one, treated them, but also how we look at culture, how we look at culture. We definitely have ideas about what the United States culture is, and we look at it probably from each of our individual lenses based on how we've experienced culture. But we all think of it in terms of lots of things that we would consider cultural values or cultural norms. So you're going to kind of read a little bit about that throughout this text today. Um, and then the other thing I have up here for you this week is an extra credit assignment. And I'd like you to I'll walk through it with you for a minute, just to explain it to you. So this says this assignment does not count towards the final grade. And what that means is it's extra points on top of the final total. So if you looked at the syllabus, which hopefully you did, here, this is where you find it. It's also in the top module. The syllabus explains that there's 400 points possible. So imagine you got each and every one of those points, which is probably not likely, sorry, but imagine you did. These 25 points would just go above and beyond your points, which would give you an A times 10 or whatever, but it would also just contribute to your grade in general. So if you missed a post, this is 25 extra points. If you didn't do as well in the midterm, it just adds to your points. It's extra credit. Okay. So what it is a reading of an article by Ta-Nehisi Coates on the case for reparations is the title of the article that he wrote in 2014 in the Atlantic. And so this is the link to the article. And this is kind of the explanation of what is leading to me choosing this assignment. And then here are some guiding questions. And so in terms of guiding questions, I'd like to be able to tell that you've read the article and that you're able to explain like what you took from it. But then you can also kind of theorize or think about how this article could help you inform kind of decisions going forward. We as a country make, as individuals, what kinds of things matter to you. So again, this is extra credit. This is a hearty article. So I would click on it. I would look at it. I would run through it. It's really great information. I think it's really important that if you didn't get this information like in history class when you were in high school, which I'm pretty sure you didn't, I would really recommend that you take the time to read it. I think what happens is that history gets what we call whitewashed throughout our years, especially in K-12 education. And there's a lot of things that we don't consider. And in terms of systemic racism, there's ways in which, a whole system can be racist, and then how that affects things for people like property ownership, job opportunities, healthcare. Those are all sociological inquiries. And so this article is really powerful to kind of unpack this idea of systemic or institutional racism. So, and the need for making right what was wrong forever. So, yeah, so this is your extra credit assignment that I've chosen for right now. I don't know if there'll be another one throughout the course of the semester, but this one is the one that's available now. So, and it's due at the latest by June 25th. So you would need to devote some time to reading and then responding. All right? So I hope everybody's well. I hope you're navigating the course and summer school okay. I know it's a lot, but just hunker down. I think you can do it. All right? I look forward to reading and responding to your posts shortly. Take care.